Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Gaming Aztec. Today, we will be talking about different topics in the gaming industry. First of all, I will be talking about an article here on CNBC saying that Sony has plunged 10 billion. I think, even though this news is still last week, it has effects on the next topic that I will be talking to you about later in the video because of the unable to meet the expectations of selling 25 million consoles. Sony lost 10 billion in capitalization. They were off, I think, 4 million. And because of that, Sony found out, or specifically, there's the CEO has found out that Sony was just operating on 5% margins. So it is not good, since in business terms, you should have at least a profit margin of, the ideal profit margin is around 20 to 25%, but I think that is too high for ano, because it makes products expensive. But the most, if you are a business, that's the most ideal, 20 to 25%. But if you are going to say about, ideally in general, it's around to 10 to 15%. Yeah, 10 to 15% is the most ideal in general if you're talking about profit margins, because we know if you're a business, bigger profit margins the better. But you need to strike a balance for both, because if you have so much margins, people will think your, or perceive your products to be expensive, and there are other options around the market. So that's one of it. So the reason why I started the video with this loss in capitalization, even though this news is still around February 18, it's because here says that Sony has laid off around 900 people. So that is equivalent to 5%. I know, not 5%, that's EA. 8% of their workforce. So which is a big number. So because of one of the reasons of their loss in market capitalization of 10 billion, 10 B as in billion, they had to cut costs. So they laid off around 900 people. Many Many studios were affected, which includes Insomniac Games here from Goat Gaming. Insomniac Games were mm, were affected by the layoffs. Also, Guerrilla Games were also laid off. Where was the tweet also given by Goat Gaming? No, we will just see. Here, let's see. Uh Here. This is already also here. Oh. Like what I said, Guerrilla. Fire Sprite was also affected with the layoffs. Guerrilla Games was affected. 10% of the Guerrilla workforce were affected. So this was the decision made by Hiroki Totoki, their new CEO, since Jim was going to be fired, and a closure. Here, according to Goat Gaming, Jim Ryan was with the London studio, and then terminating the entire studio. Sent was at this party knowing that they will be fired in 4 days. Absolutely appalling, which is normal to be upset, since people are losing their livelihood, people are losing um, their jobs, their means of income to produce for their families. So that's not good all in all, since like what I said, people are losing their jobs. Now, since Sony is a business, we know that this will happen because of the 10 billion loss in capitalization that they had experienced last week. That's why I brought that up, this article. And I don't know yet if the 20 billion they lost last year because of the approval of the ABK deal, were they able to recover that 20 billion whole amount, or was it not yet fully recovered, and now they have plunged another 10 billion of capitalization for the company? So not good. While also there was more bad news for Sony. Here it indicates that the lawsuit against PlayStation, because the gamers lawsuit against PlayStation will be proceeding. So which means Sony is being sued for 7.9 billion, or approximately 8 billion dollars, because of their malpractices and of the digital store. So if Sony will lose this, they will lose another almost 8 billion or maybe higher, because it was said in another tweet. I deleted it before. I apologize about that. It said that non-UK gamers can also add themselves to the list to the list to sue Sony. So the more people that will join the lawsuit, I think the bigger the amount will get. So really not good. Not good for the company, and especially not good for the ponies. With also the news last week that Hiroki Toki said that they will be aggressively be doing multi-platform, like PC, mobile, cloud, and other platforms. Even though they did not specifically say Xbox and Nintendo, I think that will be the direction that they will be going. Since look at Microsoft, Xbox themselves. Even though Microsoft is a $1 trillion company, even though Xbox can do away with continuing to be exclusive since they are part of Microsoft. Microsoft has trillions is a $1 trillion company, but they choose not to because they said that sustainability and making the business succeed for the next 20 years is the goal. So if Xbox was not part of Microsoft, I think Xbox will also have their own problems. So since Xbox already started porting their games to other platforms, the four games that were mentioned before, Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush, and Grounded, I think in the near future, maybe later down this year or maybe earliest next year, Sony will also maybe be doing the same. Also Nintendo, but I think Nintendo is the outlier here. Mm, but no, I don't know if they will do that. But Nintendo and Xbox already did when they exchange games with one another, except PlayStation. But I think PlayStation will be doing that in the near future, since PlayStation has been recently been copying Xbox's moves. Xbox made Game Pass. PlayStation countered with the PlayStation Now. Xbox has gone date and date to PC. Then now PlayStation has been doing PC releases after Xbox did the date and date on PC. But now they will be more aggressive in porting their games to PC and other platforms. Then Xbox bought Activision Blizzard King for mobile, and now Xbox PlayStation will now also be aggressive in doing mobile. Xbox has the cloud, then PlayStation also has the cloud. So I think it will be fair to say that PlayStation will also be doing that, importing his games to Xbox and Nintendo in the future. And we will be starting to see that exclusivity will be no more. Since that's the motto of Xbox, saying that uh, when we all play, we all win. So just be ready. So those hardcore fanboys, whether you're an Xbox, a Nintendo fanboy, or a pony, I hope that you all be willing and ready to accept that the future is no longer console exclusivity, but in everywhere. Games will be everywhere, especially with the economical cost of making games, especially AAA games. Now, for another layoff on Electronic Arts, saying that Electronic Arts will be laying off 5% of its workforce. So this is happening all around the gaming industry. Xbox did it last week with the 1,900 laid offs, but I think that layoffs were more on in line because of the acquisition and redundancies. So here, Sony made layoffs now. Electronic Arts is also doing that. It's 5%. It's approximately 680 to 690 employees which were laid off. so which is not good. But this is not the only people or companies who did layoffs. Riot Games also did layoffs a couple of weeks ago. Embracer Group. There's also Supermassive Games. There's also so many companies that were just not mentioned did make layoffs. Many of them really did that. So that's not really a good thing in the gaming industry, like what I said. Um, and here, where was it? I found this game. Thought that I would like to say. Here they said that EA has closed Ridge Line or Ridge Bridge Studios. Where was it? I found it. Here. Since EA is been laying off 5%, which is actually 670 and people, and they unannounced Star Wars FPS game has been cancelled, and now they are closing Ridgeline Games, the studio co-founded by former Halo developer Marcus Letos, and some of its developers will be moved to the Ripple Effect studio to will continue the unannounced Battlefield. Ridgeline Studios were the studio that were involved in the single player Battlefield games before. They were the ones responsible for it. So, the thought that I would like to share is that we all know that Halo is 343 or Microsoft Xbox. They now own Call of Duty. What if Microsoft will put together a new studio using the former Ridgeline Games developers so that they can have the know-how on Battlefield, they own Call of Duty, and they own Halo. So will they will not necessarily own the Battlefield game itself, but at least they have the people who made Battlefield. They will have the know-how and experience to make their games, maybe Halo, improve Call of Duty, or maybe make a new shooter game, uh, a game that will a game that will fight compete with Battlefield, like what they did with Shapeshifter games. They help fund or make a new studio for the X Evolution teams, and now they're co-developing a game for Xbox. I don't know if what was the game, what was the name of the game. It was mentioned before. I forgot. So just my just my thought. It's also here. It says that among studios affected is Respawn. And Respawn was the bread and butter of EA. They're also affected. The Titanfall games, the Jedi Fallen Survivor games, which were made by them. So what if Xbox will get all these people, also the people from Ridgeline and some the employees from that were laid off from Sony. I know not that Microsoft will not get everybody, but just a thought. They will get them all the people. Some people from Ridgeline, some people from uh, Respawn, some people from the people from Guerrilla that was laid off from Sony, from Monaco Studios, from uh, what else did I mention? The other studios from Sony that were laid off and make a new studio or couple of studios just for them so that they can be under Microsoft's umbrella, diba? It's a good thought, and at least it helps them to still have work and do the passions that they did, but they'll just be under a new company. And Microsoft, if I were Microsoft, I will do it. At least I have a new more talent, more creative minds that were involved with some of the greatest games that were ever released, like Battlefield, God of War, Horizon Forbidden West, diba? So if Microsoft were to do that, then it will be a win-win for them, like what they did with Shapeshifter games. So next is that I would like to talk about the hate, the hypocrisy, the disrespect, the Xbox tax, and all. Look at the example that Accession did. He said the biggest hypocritical lunatic when Xbox did the layoffs. a big essay. But when Sony does it, small small note, not it does not only apply to the ponies, the Xbox, or the people on Twitter or X. It also applies to the mainstream gaming journalists, the gaming media, the IGNs of the world, the Kotakus, the GameSpots, the Eurogamers, the Jeff Keighley's. They will do all their power to be quiet, make the news about Sony silent, and magnify other news just to make Sony look good. But it does not work. It just shows their hypocrisy, their bias, their hate, their partisan, which is not good in journalism as a whole. Journalism should be fair, impartial, and objective. They should not involve their fanboying or their hypocrisy on those things. So, I think that's all for this video. Thank you for listening until the end. Please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment. Again, thank you for watching and have a nice day. Goodbye.